don't have any specific water breaks today, if you feel like you need to take a break to grab a sip of water, absolutely do so. We'll start in just about 1 minute, laying down on our backs with our knees bent. But in the meantime, you have at least 30 seconds to just do any stretches that feel right for your body today before we get focused on some ab work first and some stretching for the second half. All right, well, hi, I'm Jessica. I'm the Health Fitness Program Manager at Mitre & McLean, and I'm gonna lead you through this class today. And we're gonna get started laying down on our backs with our knees bent, just taking some time to really focus on engaging that abdominal core. Make sure you have some space. I know I'm spatially challenged, to move your arms around you and also to extend your legs in front of you. And we're going to get started with those lower backs really glued down to the mat, as if you are staking a tent through your belly button, or really knocking it down into the floor. Upper body relaxed down to the mat. And the first thing that we're going to do is just gently walk the feet out as far as you can while keeping your lower back down on the mat, and then slowly walking them right back in. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So the range of motion for this one is really just going to be determined by how your body is feeling today. Maybe it's possible for you to almost extend your legs, or even extend your legs all the way straight, while really focusing on drawing your lower belly in as much as possible. And make sure that you're still breathing, enjoying some nice relaxed breaths both in and out. We're going to do each of our moves today for about 45 seconds, so we're more than 2/3 of the way through. You can do whatever feels good with your arms, maybe relaxed by your side, maybe a little extra support with those thumbs tucked right under your glutes. Awesome, and we've made it through the first move. So go ahead and just plant your feet on the floor wherever feels comfortable for you. And next up, we're just going to make some snow angels, basically, with our arms. So once again, making sure that you're decreasing any extra rounding of that back, so a slight little tilt of that pelvis up, as much of the lower back on the floor and belly drawn in tight, with the back of your fingers against the floor, just drawing them all the way up overhead as far as feels good for you and your shoulders, and then still with your fingers touching on the back of the floor, bringing them all the way back down to your hips. All right, begin. So use a nice slow inhale to bring your arms all the way up as far as you can on your inhale, and a slow exhale to bring them all the way down. The slower your breath can be, the better, just helping you to really work towards relaxing. Think about working to create some space of your shoulders away from your ears as well. And if you want to work a little bit harder, now lift those fingers off of the floor and still find that same inhale to bring your arms up and exhale to bring them down. We'll take 2 more breaths, just finding that additionally challenged. Inhale up with fingers off the floor, a little bit more of a stretch on the chest. Exhale, fingers come all the way down towards the hips. Last one. And we're going to relax with our hands all the way down by our hips. Go ahead, turn those palms over and draw your knees up to tabletop if your abs are feeling good. If your abs are still feeling a little challenged, you can keep your feet on the floor for this next one. We're going to go for the Pilates Hundreds. So taking a moment to roll up with the shoulders, so the shoulders start to come off of the floor, but your rib cage is still knit in really tight, and that lower back is down on the mat. Option to keep those feet on the floor, or come into tabletop, or work a little bit harder with your legs extended. You're going to inhale for 5 breaths and go ahead and just pedal those arms, or whatever this word is, I can't even think. Swim, and then exhale for 5 breaths with that core in. Begin. So a slight little tucking of the chin towards the chest, just so you're not stretching your chin up towards the ceiling. And the bent knee is a little bit easier, and if you need to make it even easier on yourself, you can always draw those knees a little bit closer in towards your chest. You're more than halfway through. Make sure that you're still knitting that rib cage closed. And fluttering those arms. Shoulders relaxed and released away from your ears. Glue that lower back down once more. One more breath. Awesome. Exhale, relax your head and release your feet back down towards the floor. Take a moment, even just windshield wiping your legs from right to left. Really relieve any tension that built up on your lower back. We're going to take a couple of moves, couple similar moves in pairs for the next couple ab exercises, starting off a little smaller and then working to create a little bit more engagement. All right, so for this next one, we're going to start with our legs all the way up towards the ceiling. Once again, if you need to, you can always bring your thumbs underneath of your glutes, and then one leg at a time, we're going to work to scissor those legs down towards the floor, and then bring the opposite towards the floor. And you can just lower to a 45-degree angle if that feels best for you, and if you need to, if that feels like too much, you can always bend your knees and give yourself a nice little toe tap to the floor. Whatever helps you to just keep your lower back down on the mat. If all of those seem too challenging, you can work in the opposite to just bring one leg up at a time. Even with knees bent, is going to help keep that lower back on the floor. Or with knees bent even more, draw one leg up and tabletop at a time to just work to start finding some engagement of that lower core. Whichever works for you works for me. We start in 3, 2, 1. So keep the lower back and shoulders glued down to the mat. If you want, you can work a little bit harder by actually bringing those shoulders up off of the floor and then reaching those fingers down towards the end of your mat. A slight little, once again, tuck of your chin to your chest just to make sure there's no wrinkles of your neck of reaching up towards the ceiling. Oof, keep that lower belly pulled in, and you can work at whatever pace works for you as long as you're still breathing. So if you would like to scissor a little bit faster here for these last 10 seconds, you're welcome to. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Take a moment, draw both of your knees into your chest, but keep that lower back down on the mat, because our next move is going to start with our knees drawn in towards our chest, and we're going to kind of work in a circle. So both legs are going to go up towards the ceiling. You'll bring both legs down to whichever depth you can without your lower back coming off of the mat. And again, having your thumbs under your bum is going to make it easier for you to get your legs down a little bit lower, but then you're using a little bit more of your upper body for stabilization as opposed to your abs. So there's nothing wrong with having your hands further away and maybe not being able to bring those legs as low down. So we're going to extend out as far as we can, then draw our knees in towards our chest, and then both legs come out, just kind of making a circle right here for the next 45 seconds in 3, 2, 1. So remember, the closer your arms are towards the center line of your body, the more that they're going to be able to help you stabilize. Once again, you're just making sure that you're still breathing. Breathing and moving and keeping that lower back glued down to the mat. So maybe you need to just be in tabletop and simply kick those legs out and bring them back in, maybe even eliminating, sending your legs up towards the ceiling. Just over 10 seconds of work left to go right here. And then we get to keep those feet on the floor. We're going to relax that lower back just a little bit. Awesome. So go ahead, plant those feet on the floor. Once again, take a nice little windshield wipe, maybe rolling a little bit more onto your hips, finding an extra stretch of your top knee towards the bottom of the mat to start to work a little bit more into your quad and up into those lats. Awesome. Okay, so with your heels a little closer towards your glutes and that lower back glued down, we're just going to find a big reach towards the opposite side. I like to keep my hands by my head in a fist so that there's no pressure of the fingers reaching on the neck. It takes a little bit more engagement of that upper body to just keep those hands here by your head as a fist. You can find a little bit extra reach and twist by throwing that arm a little bit as you cross crunch to each side. Really work to lift the shoulder of the arm that is throwing off of the mat. Maybe both shoulders even lift up off of the mat. And if you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself, you can always keep your hands by your chest and just punch out from your chest as opposed to up with knuckles by your ears. We start in 3, 2, 1. So starting with that lower back glued down on the mat. That's the most important thing, keeping that lower back on the mat as best as you can. And then really use your exhale to find this crossbody crunch. We're going to get off of our backs, but still stay on the floor after this one. So last opportunity to really find that flatness through your lower back and that pull in through your belly in this position. Can you even reach a little bit past your knee? Maybe you need to slow down just a little bit to find that extra little bit of a twist working into those obliques. Yay, we made it. Awesome. Rock yourself up into a seated position. Next up, we've got Russian twists. All right, so your choice how you want to make your Russian twist a little bit more challenging. You can keep your feet on the floor for some support. I want you to find that nice straight spine and to take that rounding out of your back. So if keeping your feet on the floor and staying upright is the thing for you, awesome. You can always make it harder by just leaning back a little bit more, still with that straight spine, or even more by lifting both or just one leg off the floor or alternating between legs lifted off of the floor. We're just going to twist from one side to the other, keeping it nice and simple. Really work to find that reach behind you in 3, 2, open your chest and begin. So easiest option with those feet on the floor. Maybe with those feet on the floor, you focus on moving a little bit faster, of really rotating those shoulders, but finding the rotation from the core. Option to lift one or both legs off of the floor. Make sure you still have that chest lifted and nice flat back. Find that reach behind you. More than halfway right now. If you need to, you can always put those feet down, but still find that equal challenge. Keeping this big lean back. Feel it through those lower and upper abs. For 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Yay, we're going to come off of our butts just a little bit and do a little bit of planks. First we're going to do, you can do either a straight arm or a forearm plank. I'm going to go for a forearm plank just because my wrists are a little tired. If you want to go for a straight arm plank but your wrists are tired, always an option to be on your knuckles instead. And from here we're going to work a little into the back side of the body and add in some alternating leg lifts. So if you're not in the mood to do a full plank, you can always be right here in tabletop and just go for a little bit of a glute kick back from tabletop. Otherwise, from your plank, we're just going to alternate lifting one leg and then the other. If you need to bring your knees down at any time, please feel free to bring those knees down. Shoulders away from ears. We start in 3, 2, 1. Begin. Only plank in this direction of the day. We are going to attempt a reverse plank right after this, doing the same move or a modification similar to. Keep those eyes down on the floor. Keep those either elbows underneath of your armpits or hands palms underneath of your shoulders. Just about 10 seconds left from right now. Think about really squeezing your glute to lift that heel up, not just driving through your heel. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. We're going to turn over and come into a reverse plank. So, option for your reverse plank, I like to have my hands out to the side. Some people prefer to have their hands in towards their glutes. You can either from here alternate lifting one leg and then the other. If that's too much pressure, however, on your knees or on the back of your knees, just coming into reverse tabletop, finding a little bit of lift in reverse tabletop, or even just hanging out in tabletop to get a great hip opener after a presumable day sitting in your chair for work. All right, we start in 3, 2, 1. We just got 2 more moves after this. So either being here in reverse tabletop, marching it out, or just hanging out, or with those legs nice and straight, just alternating, lifting one leg and then the other. Oh, much easier to lift one leg than the other for me. I don't know if you feel the same way, Steve. Definitely notice my right side is a lot stronger than my left. 10 seconds left. Then we're gonna lower down onto those glutes again. 3, 2, 1. Awesome work. All right, next up, we're gonna go for a nice knee tuck crunch. So still keeping those hands behind us. Take a moment, just find a nice stretch of your chest. Awesome. So with our knee tuck crunch, hands stay back here. You're gonna drive those knees in and then press yourself out. Yay. Nice and easy. If you want to work a little bit harder, you don't have to have your hands on the floor. You can come into a little bit more of a lemon curl. See what works for you. We start in 3, 2, 1. However, if you notice yourself doing the lemon curl and there's an excessive amount of rounding here, especially in your lower back, come into having those hands on the floor to make sure you're not rounding that lower back. You can find a little bit more challenge by even opening your knees, doing a little bit of a frog crunch to work a little bit more of those inner outer thighs as well. More than halfway through. One last move after this. Final 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Lay yourself all the way down. We're gonna go for a single leg jackknife crunch. So arms are gonna come all the way up overhead. You're either just going to reach for your opposite foot and keep it easy on yourself, keeping your head down on the floor, just getting a little bit of that upper body involved, or lift yourself all the way up, but try to lift yourself up using your abs, not just throwing your arms and letting your body follow your arms. All right, last ab move in 3, 2, 1, begin. So think about reaching more up as opposed to the action of throwing yourself forward. Bring those arms all the way up overhead. Focus on control on the way down as well. Great work. More than halfway through right now. Just keep it up for about 10 more amazing seconds. Then we'll hang out on our backs. Stretch it out. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Relax. Keep those arms all the way up overhead. Stretch through your feet. Relax that lower back down towards the floor once again. And keeping your lower back glued down on the mat, we're going to come into banana stretch. So go ahead, walk your legs over to the right as far as you can while still keeping that lower back towards the floor. And then bring your upper body to the right as much as you can as well. If it feels good for you, you can try crossing your left leg over your right. You can try crossing your right leg over your left. Try them both. Just find where the stretch feels better. Relax those shoulders into the mat a little bit more. Start to relax your breath. Really slow your exhale down. Taking a little moment to come into a nice yin yoga posture. Find as much stillness in your body, your mind, and breath as possible. Do a little scan of your body from head to toe and ask yourself, where do you notice any tension? And use your inhale to be aware. And use your exhale to create a little extra space. Two more breaths right here. If you crossed your legs, use your inhale to find a little lift and an exhale to bring them back down. Walk your legs back to the center line. Bring your upper body back to the center line. Glue that lower back down once more. And this time walk your legs to the opposite side. No judgment for however far they can go. Maybe it's the same distance. Maybe it's not as much. And then bring your body to join it. Option to once again, just check in with crossing your legs and finding what feels good for your body today. And then relax into the stretch. Melt into your mat as much as possible. Start to create some stillness in your body and your mind, even in your breath. So maybe taking a moment with your lungs full at the very top. Taking a moment with your lungs all the way empty at the bottom. Two more big breaths right here. If you cross your legs, use your inhale to lift up and exhale to release down. Go ahead, walk your legs back to the center line of your body. Walk your arms back to the center and then take your time, relax them down by your side. Awesome. One leg at a time. Go ahead, draw your knees up towards your chest and make sure that you still have that lower back glued down to the mat. So you don't draw your knees up towards your chest, that your glutes lift up off of the mat. And maybe that means they don't come super far to your chest, and that's okay. I'm going to take a nice quad stretch right here. So take your left hand and bring your left hand to the top of your right shin, close to your knee. And then take your right hand underneath and reach to grab hold of your left foot. As you bring the sole of your left foot close to your right glute, you start to relax your left leg towards the floor, stretching that left knee down towards the bottom of the mat. You don't even have to hold on to it with your right foot, but the closer that the sole of the foot is to the center line of your body and the more that you're stretching your knee towards the end of the mat, hopefully you feel that big stretch on the top of your left leg. You're just finding a nice little counter stretch, holding on with your left hand on your right side. Take two more breaths here. And then let's change. So bring your right hand back to the top of your right shin and then gently draw your left leg back up. And we'll switch. So right hand comes to the top of the left leg. Grab hold of your right foot if you can. Bringing the sole of the right foot close to your glute. You just start to relax the outside of the right knee towards the floor. And it's okay if it doesn't come anywhere near the floor. Just applying a little bit of pressure from the top of the foot to the floor can help you start to really stretch through that knee to bring the stretch onto your quad. See if you can relax that shoulder back down to the mat. All right, bring your left hand to the top of your left leg and go ahead, draw your right leg back up. Extend through your left heel. Use your left hand to grab hold of your right shin with your right arm out to the side without actually rolling over. Just gently begin to bring your right knee across the side of your body while still having as much of your back down on the floor. You'll find a nice stretch starting to happen through the outside of your glute, maybe a little bit into the hamstring now. And then we'll increase it and turn it into a spine twist. So draw that right leg all the way over the left side of your body. Option to roll over onto your hip as much as feels good for you. If the stretch feels like too much, you can also even draw that bottom leg in just a little bit to decrease the stretch. On your next exhale, roll back onto your back. Go ahead, extend your right leg out nice and straight. Get your lower back on the mat again and draw your left leg up. Take your right hand across the left side and just gently start to stretch your left knee towards your right hip, keeping your lower back on the mat as much as possible. Take about 3 slow breaths here. See how much you can relax your shoulders into the mat, how much tension you can take out of your upper body. Just focus on the stretch that you're really working to create throughout the outside of the left lower leg, glute. And then on your next exhale, roll a little bit deeper onto that right side, come more into your actual spine twist. Once again, slow your breath down. Remember, you can always draw that bottom leg up if you need to. Let's take advantage of having our knees to one side. So if you're doing the same as me and we have that left arm extended, we're going to go ahead and close the left arm over to the right side of the body. Just taking a moment in the fetal position. And then roll over. Let's come into all fours and tabletop and get a little bit of cat-cow right here. So get your hands, palms underneath of your shoulders. Spread your fingers out really wide like starfish. Find that nice stretch between your fingers as well. Press into your hands, palms with nice straight arms, either looking down towards your knees or maybe your belly button. And then keeping those arms nice and straight, allowing that chest to come down. And chest comes closer towards the biceps as you find, hi friend, as much of an arch of your back as possible. Look up towards the ceiling, find the stretch in your neck. Take one more time in the opposite direction, coming back into cat. Maybe even sending your hips a little closer towards your heels and shaking out through your cat's tail. And then one more time from tabletop, passing through to cow. Looking up, an option to shake through your cow's tail. Go ahead, tuck your toes under, send your hips up towards the ceiling. Bring your belly closer towards your thighs as we come into down dog, but you can take as generous of a bend in your knees as you need to if your hamstrings are super tight, and then just work to press those heels towards the floor. Better to shorten that stance and really work to bring your biceps closer towards your ears and your belly towards your thighs for some support than just to be floundering and uncomfortable. Maybe you want to press all the way up onto your toes as well. Get some nice stretches into the balls of your feet. And then as you're ready, start to walk your feet up towards your hands or your hands towards your feet. As you get close, shift the weight into your heels as you dangle down towards the floor. Once again, you can always take a really generous bend of your knees to sandwich your belly on your thighs to get rid of any light or air between your upper and lower body. While you're hanging out here, take a moment, shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Ooh. Bend one knee and then the other to get a little bit of movement. And stretching once again into your calves, your hamstrings, maybe even the outside of your hips. And then go ahead, return the weight to your heels. Take that generous bend of your knees, maybe even into a squat as you slowly, gently roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time. At the top, stack your shoulders over your hips and your head over your heart. Relax your arms down by your side. And then take a deep inhale. Stretch those arms up towards the ceiling. Palms facing in towards each other. So we'll just come down so you can see. Stretch your eyes up towards the ceiling, and then like you're drawing a bow and arrow, draw one elbow down like you're pulling on the bow. Maybe you even look behind you, and then return both hands up towards the ceiling. Draw the other elbow down, just getting a nice little stretch through those shoulders. Once more up towards the ceiling. One more time, each side, draw that elbow down, and back up, down, and back up. Stretch your eyes up towards the ceiling. Really draw your belly in, stretch through your fingers, squeeze your glutes, push your hips forwards. Feel that stretch on your belly. Inhale up and exhale. Relax your arms down by your side. Take a moment in your stillness right here. Just allowing your breath to return back to normal, to neutral. And that is all I have for you today, Steve. Thanks for coming. Hope you finish feeling good.